If you're interested in a laser engraver that's small, easy to use and surprisingly flexible, you might want to stick around for this video as I show you the Laserpecker 2 and the things that I've so far done and created with it, and my honest opinion at the end of the video as well. Hi and welcome, I'm Andreas. I've had this Laserpecker 2 for a couple of months now and have created a couple of different projects with it. I've been surprised by how easy it is to use and how much fun it actually is and how quick to create little projects or to decorate projects that I had. I mainly use it here in my woodworking shop, but I've also started to create Christmas cards and stuff like that, so I can show you a range of things that you might be able to do with it. To be upfront with you, I got this as a free review item from Laserpecker, so I didn't pay for it. Still, as always, I try to give you my honest opinion about it. The contents of this video is not arranged with them in any way. I'm completely free to say what I want to say, but you should know that I didn't pay for the item. Before we get into the details of the technical stuff, let me show you a couple of things that I've done with it. The first things that I've tried once I got it was the most simple stuff, namely just load some icon or image into the software and then engrave it on some stuff that I already had. For example, I used it to label some of my tool holders in my workshop, or for example to put a dustbin icon on my dustbin, and that is really fun because it takes only a couple of seconds to get started and the items that you engrave with are really looking nice afterward. Another thing that I've started to do is giving people, friends, family and so on, not regular paper postcards, but give them wooden postcards on which I engrave the text that I normally would have written. I often give people inspirational quotes or sayings that I like, and now I've started to do them on wood, which makes the gift, I think, a little bit more special. Yet another project here, we have some chickens and we built a chicken feeder, and my daughter really liked that we could put the names of our 3 chickens and a chicken icon on the chicken feeder. And another thing that we've started to do is creating our own Christmas cards. We engraved a greeting on some paper and then cut out some shapes on different colored paper, and then this is the result of, I think, a really nice Christmas card that has a special look to it because it's obviously self-made. So now let's look at the features and the components that the Laserpecker comes with. First of all, there's this main unit, the actual engraver itself. That is extremely well built, as all the parts are really surprisingly well built. This has great quality. Most of the stuff is made of aluminium and the parts fit really well. It has great quality. I was really pleasantly surprised by how well this thing is constructed. This comes with a shield to protect your eyes if you use it in standalone mode, and this shield also has a little ventilator that you plug in here at the back with a USB cable, and then this pulls out the smoke that's generated by engraving. Here is a little slit so the air can get in here and is pulled out here to clean the area under the laser from the smoke that's created when, for example, you engrave wood. Then there's this stand that comes with it. This is also electrified. You can easily attach the engraver to the stand. There's just a little knob here at the bottom, and that's that. And there are more USB cables to connect the accessories because they are also electric. So you plug in the USB cable at the back here and then in the stand, and now the stand itself can move up and down electrically. Of course, you have to connect the power cable to the main unit, which I'm just going to do. And now you're all ready to go. There are buttons here with which you can move this thing up and down. So you can engrave items of different height. Another thing that might be interesting is the third axis component or electric roller. This allows you to have items that are longer move past the laser. Place it here. It has these cutouts here that easily go on this so that it also fits very well. You use the USB cable to power it again. This time it's on this side. And now if you place these blocks like this, you can have a larger piece move across under the laser, depending on what you prefer. This is called slab mode. Or you can attach the main unit to this roller and have it move across a larger item. So for example, you could use the laser, which normally can just engrave on an area 10 by 10 centimeters, to have a larger item engraved, for example, on a table, and then run along it. I'll just show you how you do this, attaching one to the other. There are two different shapes here so that you cannot mix them up. This is the one to go in here. Then you remove the main component. This has a square shape that fits this one. You put it on here. And then these two blocks have balls in here. They can go magnetically on these to keep it from tilting. And now you've got a movable item that you can connect . And this thing then can move across and engrave on a larger piece. This is called trolley mode. And finally, in this setup, you can also place round objects on here, and then you turn them as they are engraved, and that's called cylinder mode. So these are the basic setups that you can use the Laserpecker in. I got myself this box and created some inlays in which to store everything safely so that nothing gets broken. After all, especially the laser is a delicate object that shouldn't get any bumps and so on. So since this is a valuable tool, I keep it in this box, but that's not included in the Laserpecker. I bought this myself and created the inserts myself. Before we get to the practical examples, of course, there's the question of how do you actually get the images to the laser, and for that you use the app, and just have a look at that as well. To show you how you actually engrave using the app, we'll use the most basic setup. I have the main unit here with the shield attached, and we'll just place it on a piece of wood. I've got a nice piece of wood here that I want to use as a wooden greeting card, and we just engrave some greeting on it, and you can see how that works. So I place it on the table, I place that here, and I of course attach the power. I've plugged in the fan of the shield so that the smoke gets drawn out. So now I'm here in the app. The first thing I want to do is click at the top to connect my Laserpecker. Sometimes it will connect automatically, sometimes I have to tap it, and now the two devices are connected if my phone has Bluetooth enabled and the Laserpecker is connected to the power source. I could load clip arts at the bottom right here, which comes with the app. I could also take a photo directly or create something, for example, just write some text here, but I don't want to do that in this case. I have made an image on my computer that I want to use, and I go into that and load it, and that's just a greeting for a Christmas card. I have different options here. Pencil, which doesn't make a change here because my image is black and white, but if you load something that has grayscale in it or a photograph, then this will convert it to a pencil drawing. GCode will convert everything to lines that the laser will then follow. Binary is black and white, which will engrave everything that's black into the material. Gray obviously is grayscale, again will not show here because everything is black and white. And seal, which flips everything around and inverts black and white so that the black stuff is burnt away and the white stuff remains in the mirrored image, so you can create stamps with which you can then stamp other materials. In this case I want to use binary and I go to next. I could crop, erase and stuff, but I don't want to do that. I just go to next. And now I have a couple of different options. Here's that auto crop, which would erase everything around it that's white. I don't need that at the moment. Then I have the resolution, so how fine the image will actually be made. In this case we leave it at 1K, so 1000 pixels I suppose. And then we can enter width and height. The Laserpecker can engrave an area of 10 by 10 centimeters, but here it's millimeters, so it would be 100 millimeters. So I can see this was a square image, so I can do it 100 by 100 millimeters. And now I want to use the preview, and when I do that I'm asked, well, is everything secure? Do I have protective goggles, which I don't need because the shield is around it? I say yes, and then I have to enter a passcode which comes with your app, and then after that you're ready to go. And now you can see that the laser actually creates a preview of the size, and I can see then where it will end up, and I can place it exactly where I want it to. In this case I realize it's a bit too big. I say quit preview, go back and reduce that maybe to 70 millimeters. Here is one little glitch, I would say, in the app. There is no obvious way of getting rid of the keyboard here. You just have to tap somewhere in the empty space to get back to the buttons. I hit preview again. Now this looks much more like I want it. I place it here, quit preview, and now I'm ready to go. I say next. Now the file is transferred to the laser. And then there are different settings. In this case there is the setting for wood, bamboo, leather, whatever you have. You can also set your own presets, but in this case I just leave it at wood. I say I want it 4% deep, and in this case just one pass. So basically what does this mean? Power means how much power does the laser give. Depth means how deep will it burn in. That's basically a measure of how slowly it moves, because the slower it moves the deeper it will burn in. And pass is how many times will it go over the shape. So this is actually something that I found you have to try out yourself. The presets sometimes work, sometimes they don't. This is a fairly soft wood, so you cannot really count on the presets to work out of the box. It's something that you really have to learn by your own experience. And now we say start. We have to make sure it's 11 centimeters between the laser and the surface, which is exactly the height of the shield. So yes, that's okay. We say yes, and now it starts. While you do this, you have to make sure that you're in a well ventilated space, because obviously this is burning wood, so it creates smoke which will accumulate in the room where you are. So you have to have an open window somewhere, or a fan that draws out the smoke, or anything the like. Just make sure you don't end up smoking your room, or maybe setting off a fire alarm. You can see the settings on the screen on the phone, and the progress in the progress bar. And I always really like that, seeing that bright spot jump across the surface and actually create that nice drawing. So now we're finished. We take it away, and as you can see, it has burned everything in. The differences in darkness and brightness actually come from the wood structure. Again, that's something that you have to try out yourself. Different woods behave differently and different other materials too, so you cannot really rely on everything being smooth and the same color all the time. But I think in this case the rough wood actually adds to the character of this piece. So this was binary mode, burning in something black on a surface. I'd like to show you another example, which is the GCode mode, which is actually very useful if you want to cut stuff out. And we'll stay with the Christmas theme and we'll cut out a little Christmas tree out of this paper here. And I'll do it a little quicker because now you've seen the steps. All we do is we load the image into the app, but instead of using binary, we use GCode, and then you can see the whole thing in action. Again, we hit preview to see where it will end up. And once we're happy with that, we click next, the file gets transferred. In this case, I go to paper. It offers recycled paper, which this of course is not. I've tested this before and I realized I need at least 2 passes to cut that out because it's a fairly thick paper, and then we start. And you can see the difference in GCode mode is that the laser walks along the lines, and that's already it. Let's see if it worked. The laser walks along the lines, and actually this wasn't enough, so we have to use different settings. We go to repeat, next, and the depth was not enough, so we'll go to 10% depth and give it a 3rd pass. And 10% instead of 3% will mean that the laser actually walks more slowly or moves more slowly, and therefore transmits more of its power to the material. So let's see how that works now. You can see it moves much slower, and you can already see the burn line that it leaves. Pass number 1, now comes pass number 2. And pass number 3. And that was it. And now it should come off easily. Yes, it does. There we have our Christmas tree. I can get these shapes out. Probably use some sharp object or something, but you can see that it nicely cut this out. And that was GCode mode. So, what's my take on the whole thing? I really think the Laserpecker 2 is a great product, and I was surprised by how easy it is to use and how quick it was for me to take my first steps and engrave my first items. The materials that I used are high quality, the build quality is great, everything fits together nicely and is easy to understand. The app is also okay. It's not as great as it could be. Some screens are sometimes a bit confusing, and sometimes you have to tap in an empty area to get rid of a keyboard or stuff like that, or it loses a dimension that you've already entered and you have to enter it again. But those are really small things that will probably get eased out with updates in the future. As I said, starting is very quick. You can create nice products quickly, but especially with the electric roller, you have a lot of options to go on and get more advanced with the whole thing. I've experienced that using the roller in slab and trolley mode can sometimes be a bit difficult because, for example, if the wood is very smooth, it will not always roll smoothly and evenly so that I got some glitches there and wood got stuck or it turned a little bit and so on. I wasn't sure if this was actually a problem of the Laserpecker or of simply using material like wood, which obviously is not completely even all the time, and when it has some rough spots, obviously there will be more or less friction and so on. So just keep in mind that you should use some material that you have something spare of, so things might go wrong the first time and you'd have to maybe do it again and try it in a different setting and so on. But overall, I've been very pleased by the things that I have been able to make, and I think it's great to have this creative tool that you can use for so many different products and make other people happy by creating nice gifts or decorations and so on, that have a clearly original touch to them because they are obviously creative productions by you, and therefore all the more special as gifts. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time around. Bye bye.